Bonjour Broadway. So now I'm starting a new thing. I'm gonna do some interviews of people that I find inspiring so we can learn things, and learning things, it's good. For my first interview, I had the chance to be with my mentor, Justin BOCCITTO. It was a great moment, but it was my first interview. So I had everything: the mic, the camera stick, the camera charger, but I forgot the camera. And this is not a joke. This is not French sarcasm. It's really, I forgot the camera. So here's what we did. We spoke into our iPhone while it's recording, and we were just walking around New York City, and it was a great moment. And we learned a lot about Justin BOCCITTO, his career, his training, his way of thinking, and also he's doing a show at the end of October 2017 called Song and Dance Man. So please, my friend, take time to listen this interview and have a great time. Allez, salut mes petits pigeons. Hi Justin.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really happy to be here with you. We are walking a bit everywhere in New York.
Yes, we are always running, and here we are literally walking down the street.
Exactly.
Talking about projects.
First, do you want to get coffee somewhere or just walk?
You know what, I'm good.
Good?
Yeah, I was up at 6:30, so I have too much coffee in my
Okay,
body
good.
right now.
Okay, so let's go. Justin BOCCITTO, you are a performer, choreographer, director, tap dance teacher, ballet dancer, and you are also my mentor.
That's right.
Yeah. So that I'm really proud to be here with you right now. If people want your information, they can go on, of course, all the Google and Broadway sites, because I want to go into details, not the bio that
Great.
we all know. And the first question is, who were your different inspiration when you were a kid, and who are they now?
Great.
Are they different or not?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I didn't really know a lot about dance and musical theater growing up, but my parents would say that whenever they would bring a home video camera home, I would always want to be in front of it.
Yeah, okay.
So I definitely had a flair for the dramatics and being in front of the camera.
Yeah, I see.
So they knew that I had some kind of desire to be seen all the time. And so I was really inspired when I first went to a theater program out in my hometown called Centenary Young Performers Workshop, and there was the director choreographer of that program. His name is Michael Blevins, and he really became my first encounter with somebody who was a professional actor.
Okay.
And he had just gotten done actually doing a movie, Chaplin, with Robert Downey Jr.
Oh.
And I remember going and seeing that movie and going, oh my gosh, I'm being taught by the guy who's up there in a movie with Robert Downey Jr. It was very surreal.
How old were you?
I was 11 years old.
Oh wow, that's cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, so it was a really exciting time to realize that you could actually make a career out of being an artist. And he just was very inspirational to me. He really taught us not just about the technicalities of theater and dance, but he also taught us about what it meant to be an artist and how committed you had to be and how much time you had to put into it to actually succeed.
Yeah.
So he was probably my first inspiration, and then I got super hooked on MGM musicals.
Oh.
And I literally went to, this was back in the day, of course, when Blockbuster Video was around, and I would just go and I would just buy all the used musicals, and I watched them. And I guess I would say that Gene Kelly was probably
of course
the big inspiration to me. I just like that. I like that when Gene Kelly would dance, he just had a very masculine quality to him. And growing up in dance, you know, people automatically, especially in my hometown, you know, they assume things, and I just it kind of grounded me in a way watching Gene Kelly, because he was masculine and he was this romantic lead all the time, and I just felt like that's what I wanted to be. So he inspired me, and my dance style became a lot of based on his style, and then I moved to New York. Like right out of high school, I moved to New York.
Oh, cool.
And then from there, I would say, for me, inspirations today, really anyone who is kind of paving a way for themselves. That's what inspires me. Okay. I love I love watching colleagues in the tap dance world who are just going out there and putting themselves out there and doing new and different things.
Yeah.
It's exciting to, that inspires me. That makes, when I see my peers doing that, it pushes me to be better.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So that will be for now.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be for now. I mean, it's so great teaching at a place like Broadway Dance Center because you're surrounded by
Yeah.
other amazing
Talent,
teachers,
yeah.
you know, and dancers.
So I follow you. I don't know where
Okay,
you're gonna
yeah,
go.
cool.
So wherever, yeah. Okay. So I would say that you're more than a triple threat performer. I would say that you're triple threat twice.
Okay.
So how did you end up doing dance, tap, acting, singing, playing guitar, and whatever? Maybe cooking. I don't know.
Well, I would say that the acting, singing, dancing element came from growing up in a very heavy musical theater program.
Yeah.
I really did. That's how I learned. I really didn't go to a dance studio. I learned how to dance by being in musicals.
Yeah.
So incorporating all three of them, the acting and the singing and the dancing, that happened right away.
Right away. Okay.
Whereas I feel like, there are certain people, especially who just grow up in the dance studio world,
Yeah.
that's very uncommon for them. At least what I find in my
Yes.
my
Yeah,
teachings. So that was kind of a given, and I was kind of like pushed into musical theater in that way, which was great. The other stuff I think just came out of getting bored. Getting bored with certain things, and I think everybody goes through a period in their career where they get disenchanted with or unenchanted with how things are going. I liked being a musical theater performer, but I just felt like I was being one of everybody else,
I see. Yeah.
and I wanted to be I wanted to do more.
Okay.
And so my father is a musician.
Oh.
And he is a singer, a songwriter. He plays multiple instruments, and so I think got inspired to start playing the guitar from him, and then I just have a very strong passion for rock and roll music, and
Yep.
so that kind of led me to trying to combine the musical instrument and tap dancing at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's how that sort of came to be. And I have other friends, especially the two gentlemen who are in the show with me. They also play instruments. They play ukulele, they play harmonica, and they also are very savvy when it comes to music. So the three of us together just started to jive, and we were like, this is a good challenge. We want to learn how to actually play and tap at the same time. So I think it came out of us challenging each other.
So that's how the idea of the show came, because that was my next question. How the idea of the show came.
It's a good question. It really it really came out of, well, two things. One, I had been doing a bunch of different pieces with some of the people who are in the show now, in Song and Dance Men, for Choreographers Canvas, which is an event that I used to produce in New York City for choreographers.
Yeah.
And I was putting all these pieces together, and I started thinking, I want to put together a full show.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
And this concept came from some talks with some other people, and we had this idea to try to put together what we called pre-show, and that was actually the name of Song and Dance Men before I changed the title. It was called pre-show. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
And the idea was that here in New York City, people could come and have dinner and drinks and see our show for an hour, and then go see a Broadway show.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it was working, and we were getting good response, but it was hard to find the right venue.
Yeah.
So I decided that I wanted to try to just get it to a regional theater.
Got a class act, it's a well-known fact. You can tell by the swell clientele we attract. Justin and me, and Nikki makes three. We've got a top-notch, high-tone, first-class act. Some got the rhythm and some have not. But we can do the Susie Q right to our spots. Nikki's fine, Justin's fine, and Eddie's red hot. But put them all together, and what have you got? You've got a
so the concept itself, like the actual story of the show, came from my childhood and growing up being a dancer, and how these two other dancers who are my friends, one of them is Nikki Romanello and the other one is Eddie Francisco, and we all grew up in the same program together. So we all had the same experience, and we pretty much just took those experiences and our inspiration for song and dance men like Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire and Gregory Hines and all these people, and we put it into a show.
Okay, cool. Do you care more that it's about the show because you are the head of the project, or like comparing to another show that would do you will book, or and you are just a performer?
Yeah.
What feeling do you feel?
Yeah. Definitely. I feel very protective of it. I think because it is kind of like your child.
Your baby,
yeah, it's like your baby, and so I do feel protective of it. But what's really great about our show is that it has a very improvisational style to it.
Oh, cool.
So I do feel like it's not. I have been able to let go of control. I definitely can sometimes try to hold on to too much control over projects that I'm doing. I'm a control freak. I mean, it's true. But it's because it's a desire to make it right. And what's cool about this show is that I'm starting to lose that desire, and I'm having more fun just working with the performers on finding it with them, rather than forcing them to do it maybe this way that I want it.
Okay, yeah.
So that's been good because it's unlike other projects in where I'm not dictating exactly what's going to be done.
Okay.
We're finding it together. So I would say that the feeling that I get from this specific project is definitely a more collaborative feeling from working with the performers, and I hope that the performers would also feel that they have some say in what they're doing as well.
Okay, I see. What will be the future of this show?
Well, I really hope that the show can just go on and find a place in more theaters throughout the country. I think what's good about the show is that it appeals to both a young and old audience.
Oh yeah.
Because obviously when you are doing songs of Irving Berlin and George Gershwin and George M. Cohan, the older crowds are going to recognize those songs.
Yeah.
But the style of the show is very modern in the sense that it, as I said earlier, it has this improvisational feel to it.
Okay.
So I think that young people will find it funny. I think there's a lot of humor in the show.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure this is funny.
There's definitely a lot of, and especially when you're working with people that you already have a rapport with them.
I see that.
The other two performers in the show, Mackenzie Cutcliffe and Kelsey Matheny, also two people that I work with all the time, and we just already have an automatic rapport with each other. So it makes that icky process in the beginning when you have to get to know one another in your show, in your cast, that's gone. We just literally walk in and we know what each other is kind of gonna do next, and we can play off of that.
Okay, that's very cool. I can't wait to see it because the videos is very prominent. No, I don't know how to say. Well, it's teasing. I want to see it.
Yeah. Well, we definitely have a lot of different things in the show.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, I want to ask a question about your class, and I know you were at Broadway Dance Center. You push and challenge a lot of people, even for basic and beginner tap, and that helps me a lot. But how this idea of pushing people and teach pullback in basic class came for you?
Yeah, it's a really hard question to answer because I do get this a lot from students who come to class, and they're very surprised that the material that we're working on in a basic or beginner class. And I guess really the one thing that I can say to answer the question is, how do they know whether they can or can't do anything until they get to try it?
Yeah.
And I guess for me, I just feel that even if they don't get it in that 90-minute class, at least now they have the awareness that it exists, that these steps exist, and if they're smart and they really want to get better, they'll go home and they'll work on it.
Yeah.
If they didn't get exposed to that at all, they wouldn't even know what to work on. So I guess for me, it's more of a feeling of throw caution to the wind. You've paid the money. You've come to one of the most reputable dance studios in the world. You should be challenged.
Yeah.
You should feel challenged. You should feel a little over your head a little bit, because that you have decided to come to this studio, and it is a very competitive studio in that way. But I try to keep the class lighthearted and fun, so that no one feels like they're being forced to just be challenged in a way that is demeaning or demonstrative. It's simply just saying, hey, look, here are these things that you will do someday. Why don't you know about them now, so that if you want to, you can go home and work on them.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, the approach.
Is that something that your teachers or mentor used to do, or is that something that you felt that was not existing in your way of learning, Tab, and so you decided to put it like this?
It definitely was something I learned from my mentor, Michael Blevins, because he pushed us tremendously, and I think he always thought that we were capable of more than we ever even imagined we would be capable of these things that we would do, and I definitely attest that to him.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have two little games.
Okay, cool. I like
so
games.
The first game, let's imagine that that the president of this country pushed the red button, but you already 2 years ago invest on an apartment on the moon, so you can go on the moon, so that you're fine.
Okay, so I can travel to the moon and get away from the end of the earth.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But of course you have to pack, and you have a lot of things to pack, so you can only choose one film, one movie.
One movie. Wow.
Yeah, you're really packed.
Well, I guess I would probably choose Singing in the Rain.
Singing in the Rain?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. And not because it's like an obvious choice, but if there was anyone else who happened to get an apartment on the moon, and they had young children, and they didn't know anything about movie musicals, I think that Singing in the Rain is the perfect musical in that way. I mean, it's the perfect movie musical, because it sort of pokes fun at the beginning of the talkies, but it also has, it has Donald O'Connor and Gene Kelly doing Moses Supposes, which is one of the greatest tap dance numbers, in my opinion, on film ever. And so I would just think that would be a wonderful representation of that, and it would be a great way to pass down certainly what inspired me to be an artist. And I also that's probably one of my favorite movie musicals. So it would be good for me too.
Okay, so now you have also room for one music album.
Oh, wow. One music album. Okay. Let me think about that.
Yeah. You have all the time that you want. That's hard.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I'm
gonna edit this part if you want.
Well, it's funny. The other day I did that thing where they tell you can turn on The Wizard of Oz with no music and then play Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon album at the same time, and they kind of match up to each other.
Really?
Yeah, it's an old like urban legend that if you on the third lion roar of the Wizard of Oz movie, at the beginning credits, that when that happens, you play the vinyl from start to finish, that the songs coincide with what's going on.
That's crazy.
And in some odd, bizarre, strange way, and I don't know if it was certainly on purpose, but it kind of does match. And I guess that I would just say that I think The Wizard of Oz is another one of those like perfect movies.
Yeah.
And I would say that probably that Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon is probably one of the most perfect albums. So I would probably say that album I would bring with me, because it just kind of evokes story, and that's one thing that I really try to do with my music and my dancing, is I really try to focus on the storytelling rather than just pure entertainment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah, that's two good choices.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, Singing in the Rain and Dark Side of the Moon, I mean, they're definitely the polar opposite ends of the spectrum, but that kind of is I think that's me. I have these two very different sides of music and dance. You know, it's this one kind of classic side of the movie musical era, and then, you know, growing up with my father playing and writing rock music, I have that side of it too.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Okay, so now this is a bit more bizarre
Okay.
and weird. Last choice that you have to make
Okay.
to go on the moon. You have to choose a one tap step. So you
Just
can only do
one.
this tap step on the moon. That's the only one.
Only one tap step on the moon. Wow. Okay. Let me think.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's crazy.
No, it's okay.
my
No,
French
it's good.
weird mind.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like your French weird mind. Makes us think. I would say that I would probably choose the grab off step, shuffle, pick up, shuffle, pick up, shuffle, pick
Yeah.
up, and then with what people call it the Savion Glover break, the snap, shuffle, off, shuffle, snap, shuffle, off, shuffle,
Yeah.
snap. I would choose that one because that was the first like trick that I learned as a kid going across the floor that I could actually do, and it's probably in my mind one of my most favorite rhythms because it's the paradiddle rhythm, but not using paddle and roll, and it makes me think of my childhood.
Okay, and also and when you cut the step, you have shuffle, you have the
Yeah,
grab off, so
you have the
different
grab off,
steps
you
in
do.
the one step.
Yep.
Good choice, good
Good.
answer.
You have the hop.
Yeah.
You have the chug.
So that's good answer. Okay, now the second game is just, I have seven, not question, but yeah, seven questions.
Okay.
Really quick. You have to choose between two things and don't really think about it, just
Okay,
say
just
the answer.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Let's go. Number one, coffee or espresso?
Espresso.
Number two, Imagine Dragons or Stevie Wonder?
Stevie Wonder.
Number three, left foot or right foot?
Left foot because we should.
Yeah. Number four, heel or toes?
Heel.
Number five, pull back or wings?
Pull back.
Number six, Gene Kelly or Fred Astaire?
Oof. It's in the show too. This question that in Song and Dance Man. Gene Kelly.
Gene Kelly. Number seven and last question, Justin Boccitto or Franco?
Franco, because he's more fun and he's a custom designer.
Yes, Franco.
Yes, Franco.
Thank you very much, Justin. It was a pleasure for me, and we learned a lot, I think. And do you want to say something else?
Sure. I just wanted to say thank you for doing this. I, as I said, you know, you asked me what inspires me, and it's people like you who want to.
I'm gonna cry.
Who want to, you know.
Yeah,
move forward and bring other people along. So that's a really great quality. So
Okay,
thank you for interviewing me.
Thank you, Justin. And also, do you have any French word to say for the end?
Je ne sais pas.
Nice, that's good. And you have faux too.
Yeah,
Faux, yeah.
faux, yes.
Discover together that is a French word. Thank you, Justin, and have a nice day.
Thanks.